So Dr. Wilson, thank you for joining us today. And you recently wrote a very thoughtful paper for the Mary Ann Liebert journal, Human Gene Therapy. Your article was entitled Bulls, Bubbles, and Biotech. And in it you addressed a critical question. Do the recent developments in cell and gene therapy represent just another of the many biotech bubbles we've seen in the past, or has this field gained some true traction and is now on the road to finally developing novel products for sick patients? What did you conclude?
Well, I concluded that we are indeed in a biotech bubble. That investment in biotech in general is escalated. That gene therapy seems to be leading the pack, and in fact, investors are quite smitten with gene therapy. And that, importantly, when this bubble bursts, that gene therapy will be on much more solid ground and would allow for a sustained and ongoing investment in development of the field.
Talk some more about why you believe the cell and gene therapy field has kind of turned the corner.
Well, to do that, what I'd like to do is talk about the first bubble that was very important to the field, which was around 2000, the dot-com era, when gene therapy was young, not mature, but was riding the wave of that biotech bubble that burst quite dramatically due to internet stocks falling and gene therapy support crashed, but there was no scientific foundation whatsoever. It was based on a lot of hope and very early technology. It's different now. It may be a similar bubble, but during that decade or more, there's been substantial investment in the technology and much more thoughtful application of the technology to clinical targets. And so I think we are on much more solid ground, which would allow for sustained support beyond and going forward.
Let's pick up on this technology theme. To what extent have new and emerging technologies been responsible for the recent cell and gene therapy success stories?
It's made all the difference. I mean, when we started this field 20 years ago, we just selected gene transfer vehicles based on viruses that were around, tried to use them in the clinic, didn't work. We had to go back to the bench, and there were two developments. One was a technology called a lentiviral vector that allowed for transfer of genes into cells, and was really the basis for the Bluebird Bio company that had a very celebrated IPO just recently. The second technology development was for in vivo gene therapy, putting genes directly into people. Different virus, that's something called AAV, and we discovered a whole new family of AAVs that have led to the first approved commercial product in the West, which is called Glybera, and there will be many others as well. So it's really the technology of transferring genes that has made the difference.
What does all of this mean for stakeholders in the cell and gene therapy communities?
We've been hopeful about the potential of this field, especially for rare diseases of unmet need. I think scientifically we moved the field to the point where we could develop successful therapies, but those programs were parked due to lack of resources, capital. The most dramatic difference is going to be we have capital now. We have money to develop these programs, to develop the manufacturing processes necessary to support that. And it's really going to be a very exciting time with acceleration of these programs from a point where they were just very slowly percolating along. So I'm very optimistic about the future.
Dr. Wilson, thanks so much for your thoughts on this rapidly developing and very exciting field.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Okay, Jim, we got it. Thank you.
All right, John.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.